Am I the asshole for refusing to move my wedding date because of my competitive stepsister? My stepsister, Ren, don't like it. Change the name. Change the name. I'm sure that's a normal name. Actually, I think I've learned my lesson because one time I went really hard on Catherines. And listen, I even said that that was a personal thing. All the Catherines or the Cathys I've ever known in my life have not been the best of people. But it's not that serious. It's not that big of a deal because you might be a Catherine out there and you're perfectly fine. You're perfectly normal. It's just unfortunate. You know, it's like being named Karen. It doesn't inherently mean you're a Karen, but it's unfortunate. And who cares? You know, who cares what I think about the name Catherine? Who gives a shit? You know, go do you, Catherine. Be the president of the United States. I don't care. But anyways, Ren has always been competitive with me. We already gone off at a tangent in the first minute. It was mostly fueled by her mom, who was always extremely competitive between the families. But Ren kept it up. I'll admit I fed into it a bit when we were teenagers, but I grew out of it. She never did. She goes out of her way to try to one-up me and she thinks everything I do is to one-up her, which isn't the case. Man, that's a tough mentality. That's like the mentality I had. It's like everything is a competition. You know what I mean? Everything is personal. And when you have like anger issues like I used to have, it's not good, man. It's not good. It's not good. It's hard to fix. It's hard to fix. I mean, that competitiveness is a good thing in a lot of cases, but you can't be competitive over every little thing because then you get angry about minor things. But that's just me. Like, you rage like a little man baby at video games, you know? That's the background to the main issue. Ren is getting married in November, and she's been planning the wedding for over a year. I got engaged a month ago. My fiance works an extremely high-pressure job, and because of the nature of his job, next year and the year after will be incredibly stressful. It's part of the reason he proposed when he did. I don't want to wait 2 years to get married, so I got in touch with a wedding planner who was able to work something out so that we can get married in August. It will be an extremely small wedding, a reception dinner of about 20 people over one weekend. This is in contrast to the 150-person traditional wedding that Ren has planned. So she's mad that you're getting married in August instead of November. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? You got married faster? This is a wild thing to like, I don't know. I feel so bad. It has to be like a, you know, some of these families are like really, they really push the whole like, why aren't you married yet? Why aren't you married yet? And it just makes people feel, it makes the kids feel really, like it ruins their self-esteem when they have like grandparents who are like, you're not married yet, you're not married yet, you don't have a kid yet, you're not married yet, you're not married yet. And it's like, just shut up, man. Like they'll get married or they won't get married. You know, it'll happen. Like, shouldn't you just want them to be happy at the end of the day? You know? And oftentimes I find that the people that really try to force marriage and kids end up scaring the kids away from having kids, their kids away from having kids, you know what I mean? Or getting married. Because it's just they've been constantly, you know, pressured to do it. So now they like view marriage and having kids in a negative light. When in reality, if you just shut up and let things naturally play out, the odds of them having a kid might have been higher. And getting married might have been higher, but whatever. You guys are just getting married like crazy, but they're just competitive over it. This is literally the opposite of that, though. It seems like they're just competing. Like, it has to be there because of the fact that she's competing over the fact that like getting married earlier would be something to brag about, but whatever. Even if it's just like a couple months. Ren is livid that we're planning to get married before her. She knows the reasons, but she still insists that I planned this to upstage her wedding. She is giving her dad no end of shit for putting money towards my wedding and helping me to humiliate her. Her words. She is also humiliate her. No one's going to be talking about your wedding at her wedding. What is this bitch is a narcissist. She's also causing trouble amongst mutual friends she has with my fiance. This is not a huge deal because they're not wanting to get involved, but it was extremely embarrassing because she announced the date of our wedding before we did. My mom and her dad are now hinting that maybe we should move the wedding. No. They keep saying maybe a winter wedding, I guess after Ren's, would be better, and that it would be nice if the family could attend both weddings with everyone on good terms. My stepbrother has also said that while she knows I didn't do it on purpose, because of my past issues, this will be extremely hard for Ren to get past. He also said I was naive for thinking that just because my wedding is different from hers, that she would let it go. He may be right about that. Yeah, you may be naive if you knew that she was, if you thought she was going to be cool with this, but at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that you just have to cater to, like, who gives a shit, man? Who gives a shit? Besides Ren. Ren gives a lot of shits. I don't think you're the asshole. I still don't really want to change the date of the wedding. I don't think doing it in the winter will appease Ren, and no, it probably will. If you push it back to, like, December and January, she probably will. I mean, I'm going to be real with you. I don't think you should change it just because of your sister. I think your sister is insane. But if you pushed it back after, she's so like immature that it probably would work for her. And then she'd probably gloat that she got married sooner anyways, because she's weird. But I don't like being the one to rock the boat. And I do sometimes feel a bit sorry for Ren. Maybe this isn't the time to take a stand. I really don't know if I'm in the wrong here. I don't think you're in the wrong here. If you want to push the wedding back, push the wedding back. If you feel bad about it, I wouldn't, but I'm an asshole. You know, if somebody came up to me and they're like, oh, but I was going to get married in November, I'd be like, hey man, this is just the time that it lined up for me. Don't worry. I'm not going to try to upstage like your wedding. We're just going to get married, man. Hell, I might even just go to the courthouse and sign the papers. You know what I mean? That might just be that kind of small little ordeal, you know? And if they're like, I'd probably be like, hey man, I don't know what to tell you, but the fact that you're getting this upset about it kind of makes me want to go through it anyways, because I'm an asshole. Ren sounds spoiled as hell, and your family is doing nothing to change that. I'm going to go ahead and assume that I want to sort by controversial first, because that's what I always enjoy. I'm sorry. If I wanted to scroll through the popular comments, specifically on a topic like this, and just find people that agree with me, I'd do that, but I want to find some people that don't like me. Ooh, after reading most comments as well as OP's answer to them, I'm going with you're the asshole, and I'll tell you why. OP states in one comment that her small wedding with only 20 people at the reception is going to be more expensive than Ren's 150-person wedding. What does that tell you? OP is going extremely extravagant. Maybe. For only 20 people, how the hell could a small wedding on a Saturday or Sunday be so incredibly stressful that it would be impossible to plan any time in the next 2 years, even with a stressful job? OP says her stepdad, Ren's dad, usually took her side growing up. Is it possible Ren simply wanted to truly have her family's attention for just one day? There are two sides to every story. Downvote all you like. I mean, potentially. Ren will have the family's full attention on her wedding day. People have better things to do than compare family members' weddings. See, at the end of the day, that's kind of how I feel about it. She's gonna have a wedding day. It's not like people are gonna forget that the wedding day exists. It's going to be more expensive. How much more expensive would it be? That's kind of what I want to know. Because if it's just a little bit more expensive, but she planned it, because if you're going to have less people there, maybe you can invest a bit more in something a bit more expensive, because you're not feeding as many people, so you could be a little bit more extravagant because you're feeding 20 people as opposed to 150. I simply can't bear that I have to get married first scenario within families. Yeah, that's probably going to be the biggest reason that I just flat out don't consider you the asshole. I was kind of thinking that when I read these, like when he said the comments, I was thinking that OP was going to say something like, yeah, my sister should die or something. But it's really just like, you do seem kind of shitty. Everyone sucks here. Her ongoing attitude is obviously a problem. I agree that she should stop making everything competition. But for me, a lot of history is irrelevant, even in healthy, close, blah, blah, blah. One sister getting engaged, get her wedding before the other. It would cause a lot of tension. Dumb. But whatever, not everyone's family operates the same way. If you're planning kids, I hope you have them first. But not everyone's family works the same way. My family is just not, they're just not weird at this level. They're weird at different levels. Our problem is probably alcoholism. That's probably the big thing for my family. Do you have a lot of downvotes anywhere? That's what I want to see. I want to see a really downvoted comment where you're like, yeah, my sister should kill herself or something. And you're like, oh, okay, well, wow, nothing crazy here. She doesn't get whole weeks off, but he doesn't get whole weeks off, and he doesn't dictate his schedule. It's not like a 9 to 5 where he has paid time off. He gets days off, but they're very often filled with ancillary activities. I don't need to get married this year. I could get married in 2027. I have the rest of my life to get married. However, getting married this year would make me and my fiance happy. Okay. As long as you don't feel like you're rushing it, and not because it upstages Ren. In fact, our relationship and our lives have nothing to do with Ren, no matter how much she and apparently you would like to pretend otherwise. Ooh, okay. You clearly think I'm the asshole, and that's fine. What was this in response to? And why is it suddenly we? I thought it's only your partner that has a stressful job. So you could be planning it with their input now and then. I have to keep in mind side of the story, most likely the best version. I think that person's just trying to find both sides of the story. I'm 28, Ren is 29. So Accepted. Okay, hold on. What are your most upvoted? Let's see what your most upvoted thing is. 90? I think I saw one that was in the hundreds, right? Here we go. There are free weekends for us, but it's about the general stress that those 2 years are going to be taking on us. It's a physical and emotional toll. Hopefully the marriage lasts. I don't want to be worrying about my weight in that time or worrying about planning and coordinating a wedding. That's an interesting point, I guess. I need to be able to support my fiance. Unfortunately, his career needs our focus. Whatever. Be our focus, whatever. I want our wedding to be a joyous time period, not 2 days squashed in between weeks of anxiety when we're both thinking about what's happening the week after. I know that you're not doing it to one-up Ren here. The money my stepdad is contributing isn't a lot in the grand scheme of the cost, and we don't need it. He insisted on offering something as father of the bride, and we accepted to make him feel included since my dad also chipped in. They haven't outright asked me to change the day, and I don't think they will. I think they would just like it if that came to the decision myself. Okay. So the comments about like her wedding being super extravagant, where are those? My wedding will be hashtag, I mean, in quotations, more expensive, upstage hers. Is it actually more expensive? Why'd you put that in quotations? I was kind of hoping that when I was reading this, I was going to see some comments that would make me kind of change my mind. But I feel like that guy pointing out her other comments hasn't really made me change that at all. No, it's the opposite. My stepdad was really always on my side when we were growing up, and it strained his relationship with Ren. See, this is an interesting thing to point out. I guess he thought it was finally going to calm down, and now she was getting married, and at least was going to win that race. I mean, here's the thing, though. Here's what I want to throw out. Just because she seems to have this problem, and she wants to potentially be ahead of you, that doesn't mean that you always just have to hand it to her. You know what I mean? Because it just doesn't always work that way. And also, it's not like she's not getting married. She's still getting married. Ren will find a way to throw a tantrum. What was this in response to? Sounds spoiled as hell, to be honest. Opposite how things usually go. Never reward bad behavior. Never negotiate with terrorists. That's what I would say. Okay, well, I mean, it just kind of seems like nobody really agrees with that one comment that I read. Is there like a severely downvoted one? That's the one I want to know. Imagine OP gets pregnant first. Yeah, you just don't really seem like a... Do you really not see how two kids of, I assume, roughly the same age having different curfews in the same house is kind of bullshit? Wait, what? She did 50-50. No, she didn't side with me to appease my mom. He sided with me because Ren would go and make an issue of whatever I got to do she didn't, and would demand I not be allowed to do it. I got invited on holiday with friends. It's unfair that Ren wasn't invited. I didn't have a curfew. My mom's decision. Okay, what? This is like family politics that I don't even want to get into. No, you're not the asshole. Sorry to Ren, I guess.